All right, good morning. Thank you so much for choosing Look Up Television this morning. We are right in the headquarters, and remember, we're also live across all social media platforms. You can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and as well as www.lookuptv.co.ke. Our WhatsApp number is working. 0745 762 640 is working. Of course, you can tag along any question, any suggestion and opinions in regards to the conversation that we are having this morning with regards to the youths right here in the country. There is a space of the youth in the Republic, and of course many a times we still speak about the same case about youth unemployment and the crisis that the youths are facing. But allow us, even as we come to the bottom line of the year 2025, what is the youth's verdict right here in the Republic? Even as we near the year 2026, what is the intent, mission, and of course what is the output that the youths will have when it comes to a new year? Ladies and gentlemen, to just take you with what has been trending right here in the country, of course you know Cyrus Jirongo, of course, who was born on March 21st, 1961, lost his life in a car road accident just a couple of days ago. And of course, even as we speak about that, so many things are coming in as far as his death is concerned. Former Lugari MP Cyrus Jirongo has passed away on Saturday, which is a couple of days ago, and has been trending a couple of days since yesterday as well, at around 3 a.m. in an accident along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway. The 64-year-old died when his car collided with a passenger's bus, according to a police report. Now, to just give you an insight of whom Cyrus Jirongo was, he gained national attention in the early 1990s and of course became the youthful leader of Youth for KANU 1992, that was YK 1992, and of course was closely allied to President Daniel Arap Moi's inner circle, and attended Mangu High School between 1978 and 1981. Rose to prominence during 1992, and of course if you remember those times when multi-party elections was taking the center stage, and YK 92 was a lobby group that mobilized support for KANU. Of course, you know Cyrus Jirongo as the first elected MP for Lugari constituency in 1997. He lost his life as regarded to the nation. Jirongo died on December 13th in a road accident along Nairobi-Naivasha highway. As the family prepares for his final rest, of course we'll be able to get you the glimpse and the insight of what the family prepares and the statements that will come out of the family, and what are some of the preparations that are taking space right there in Lugari. Of course, what is also taking shape right in the country, remember a couple of days ago, that was 12th of December 2025, the nation embraced Jamhuri Day. I believe you had an impactful Jamhuri Day, without forgetting that President William Ruto made quite significant speeches in his Jamhuri speech. So he mentioned that in this December 12th, 2025, focused on the time of achieving economic freedom, which we've been speaking about, and all our live broadcasts have been speaking about this, and what is the center of, or what is the position of the country as a country, what is the economic position right in the Republic. We've been speaking about economic approach, and there is so much need and there's so much desire for not only youth and the members of the Republic to take a consideration in this, but there is a need for economic freedom. As we step also in the new year 2026, we are optimistic that above all, as the government tries as much as possible to align things in the betterment of the Mwananchi, therefore, coming new year, there will be a liberation of these tough economic times. For Kenya, positioning it as the primary goal for its generation, just as previous generations secured political independence and democracy. So the president mentions that there is a need for economic transformation agenda. So he defended his administration, the bottom-up approach, which of course has been trending the quite entire year 2025 since he came into office. And he says that this bottom-up economic transformation agenda better citing progress in economic recovery, reduced inflation, a stable Kenyan shilling, and improved food security through increased agricultural production. He also mentions about what people have been complaining about, the infrastructure development. He outlined an ambitious plan for infrastructure, including dualing the Nairobi-Rironi-Mau Summit Highway. If you take a look, of course, on your phones, you'll realize that the extensions of infrastructure development procedures and programs has been the center stage of every county and every spaces right in the Republic. So many people want and need for development when it comes to not only hospitals, not only roads, but also building up better schools in the Republic, for us to have an embodiment of the infrastructure development, just as the President mentions. And of course, he was optimistic to extend the standard gauge railway SGR to Kisumu and Malaba, modernizing the Mombasa and Lamu ports, and expanding the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, JKIA, a major plan to decongest Nairobi by upgrading key roads and building an expressway in Thika Road. Just to mention but a few, of course, he also mentioned about the agriculture and food security. Over 7.2 million farmers have been integrated into a national digital database. Also, this is now the talk of the town. Of course, job creation has been an alarming situation right in the public. And of course, I believe in this conversation this morning, we're also going to touch on the youthful engagement when it comes now to creation of opportunities and also job opportunities and opportunities that are available both in the local spaces and in the universal market. The speech emphasized job creation through various sectors, including the hiring of 76,000 teachers with a target of 100,000 by early 2026. Very optimistic. Digital economy, jobs through the Ajira and Jitume programs, and international job opportunities, which is now resulting to many people now await. It is a couple of days to go. We will be finalizing the year 2025. And of course, when we get to January, we'll not experience January. We'll be able to have a more impactful programs that will allow members of the Republic, the youth at large, to have this as the center stage. Of course, remember, the Form 4s as well are optimistic that coming the new year, not only in education, but also optimistic to get these opportunities and move on with life in the better way possible. So as the President has promised, let us be optimistic that will come to life. Universal health coverage, UHC, and housing. You remember about the affordable housing that we've been mentioning quite a lot. National unity and inclusivity, creative economy, where also the youths are the target right here in creative economy to administer their potential coming 2026, where the President mentions that this will be 2026 World Creative Economy Conference. We are optimistic for that as well. But of course, there's also a center of consideration where he mentions about the visa-free entry. A significant announcement was the historic decision to make Kenya a visa-free country from January 2024 to boost tourism and investment. So by 2026 we're optimistic that mambo itakuwa shwari na itakuwa nzuri zaidi. That was the 62nd Jamhuri Day celebration where President William Ruto made quite a significant speech when it comes to the alignment of the Republic right here in Kenya. Of course, to give you just a glimpse on the same, after that, remember this young girl, anaitwa Turufena Muthoni, that has sparked the nation's eyes a couple of days, and even now as we speak, we are pleased to announce that Ruto appoints tree-hugging record holder Turufena Muthoni tree planting ambassador. Quite a significant anthem right there. And of course, he praised the young activist for using innovative and symbolic action to rally Kenyans around environmental protection. Now, the President described Muthoni as an exemplary young Kenyan, thus dedication and determination to make sure that we are enforcing quite creativity when it comes to the alignment of how things are running. So the same Muthoni is a youth. And of course, many youths are empowered out there to try as much as possible being creative in different areas of expertise. I'm really happy that at this point in time, we are speaking about a 22nd-year-old girl who has embraced quite a significant idea and a thing. We're not saying that she hasn't been doing it, but of course coming to 72 hours of standing, hugging a tree is quite a particular and a unique idea that is coming here. But there's many things that has been said about Truphena Muthoni. Of course, kuna wengi ambao wamekuja kwenye mitandao and they are saying that indeed Kenya ni kama hakuna kazi. And at this particular point in time, vile ambavyo watu wengi wanasema hakuna kazi, Truphena Muthoni marvels to the excitement that what her idea, her dedication towards environment has brought her into. Of course, as we speak right now, Truphena Muthoni yeye ndio balozi sasa wa tree planting, of course, which is now the agenda that President William Ruto has right here in the Republic. I am really happy, after all this dedication, so many people came in, so many people supported Truphena Muthoni, and wale ambao walikuwa wanasema kwamba this is a waste of time. Ona sasa, unasema it's a waste of time, yet of course you are unemployed for that matter. In recognition of her courage, resilience and leadership in championing environmental stewardship, Ruto appointed Muthoni as an ambassador of 15 billion tree planting campaign, a flagship national initiative aimed at restoring degraded landscapes and securing Kenya's environmental future. Let's say in short, Truphena Muthoni ametoka soko hivyo tu hivyo rahisi, yeye ameomoka. Now we are hoping for the best, even as the champions for environmental control and environmental conservation, that tutapanda miti to the best way we can. 17 minutes past 8 a.m. We will be having a conversation right here with Rotich Kimutai, who's a political analyst this morning, and of course Jared Oye, ODM Youth League, will be helping us to understand the center stage and the room for the 2025 Youth Verdict and what next for 2026. In the alignment of this live stream that we've been making all the time that we've been on air, Look Up Television also strategizes to ensure that coming 2026, mtapenda sasa, we'll be having deliberate actions to make sure that you, our viewers, get the best insight as well. That is us. But majorly for the viewer, it is now understanding what is the youth's verdict, youth's understanding, youth's commitment, and what is the output that comes out in 2025. Since youths have been the talk of the town, remember the protest that had happened a couple of months ago sparked the nation's outrage, and many people spoke about it. But even as we come to the bottom line of this year 2025, what are the youths saying about this year, and what is their preparation for next year? Remember, earlier on we mentioned about the tough economic times. Youths wanataka a more better environment coming new year. Also, we realized that a couple of days ago, or weeks ago rather, we experienced low turnout ya vijana when it came to the by-elections. Also, we are optimistic that coming 2026, youths pia wata assemble. Now they'll come in large numbers to register as voters. We also told by the reports that wanasema kwamba vijana hawajajitokeza kwa wingi sana for the voter registration. And of course that is now a case of consideration when it comes now to the alignment of the 2027 general elections. Now listen to this. Throughout 2025, official data and civil society reports showed persistently low youth voter registration, even as young people became the driving force behind nationwide protest. Earlier on, we've been talking with political analysts, and they are saying that the best thing to align the country, the government, is to ensure that many of us turn out for this voter registration. For us to align the government, to align the country, we need to select and choose a leader of our interest, and a leader who is going to transform the country. Because we've been speaking about police brutality, the cost of living, and so on and so forth. So this is our time to go register as voters, and of course pia tuweze kuchagua viongozi ambao wanapeleka Kenya mbele. And the question this morning they were asking, if youth are disengaging from formal politics but risking their lives in protest, what does that say about the legitimacy of Kenya's political system? Our political analyst will help us to understand that in the best way possible. Now, 20 minutes past 8 a.m., we will be aligning this conversation in the next few minutes. But even as we take a very, very short break, of course, to introduce now our guest. You remember, hii conversation ya story ya digital na kuhusisha watoto kwa content creation. There is a content creator out there anaitwa Musa. Right now is apologizing for saying that CBC girls are attractive. Ati ni wasupu sana, hao ndio wanatesa sana. And of course he clarifies that he didn't mean he wants them. Many creators have come out, of course, to, it's been a backlash to Musa. He's a dancer. Yes, we appreciate what he does. But him saying that CBC ndio wanatesa na ni wasupu sana and he's very close to them, that portrays a different picture when it comes to the alignment of digital creators out there. Na nimeona pia maafisa wa polisi wamesema kwamba you just say ni wasupu, but let not the court order itoke, then we start speaking about quite different things. And that's to make just a sentiment out there. If you know someone that is engaging with young children, that is to say 18 and below, anza kuwakataza mapema as early as now. Of course, you can't say that CBC ni wasupu na you're close to them. That portrays a different picture, not only to the people around, to the people within, but also to the society at large. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we'll be able to speak about youth and politics in Kenya, a year of pressure, protest, and disillusion. This is the Morning Drift, of course, the big conversation. Don't go too far. Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi manzi.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, "Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands. Depend on your hands more."
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I loved music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play the 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like...
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
For you to forgive someone who has hurt you? How easy is it? What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things
to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. They look familiar. Have we met before? No. We met in
Nobody's buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Look Up. Kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands, depend on your hands more.
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I loved music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play the 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like...
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed the life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you? How easy is it? What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. They look familiar. Have we met before? No. We met in
Nobody's buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Look Up. Kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wase wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji. Thank you so much. Welcome back. You're watching The Morning Brief, the big conversation right here on Look Up Television. We are live across all social media platforms, and it is 8:30 a.m. this morning. We're speaking about youth and politics in Kenya, a year of pressure, protest, and dissolution. The big conversation this morning is the 2025 youth verdict. Joining us, of course, this morning, it's so lovely to see you. And the context on the 2025 youth verdict is the key element of what to expect now. But to hear this verdict, of course, what to expect in 2026 will mean a lot for the country. Even as you introduce yourself, what is, as a youth, what is your 2025 verdict?
My name is Tony, and thank you to have me here. I'm happy to be here. And 2025 verdict, as we all know that we are wrapping up the year. And it has not been, this year has not been that good to the young generation, the youth. It has been having ups and downs. And I hope entering 2026 will be a year at least of good things. But as you have asked, like, what is my take about 2025? You know, we the generation, the youth, the Gen Z generation right now as we speak, you know, we have youths who are under, they have not been employed. We have a lot of youths who, the graduates, 80% of the youths right now are graduates from university, and now they are only engaging maybe on social media and politics. They have been used in politics, political by politicians. So now, you know, when you find somebody who is desperate to get money, he can do anything or she can do anything to have that money. So the political class have used the generation in a wrong way, because as you know, or as you see right now as we speak, the youths mostly engage in goonism, engage in drugs. Is even the latest recruitment of Kenya Defence Forces youths, about 1,500 were rejected or returned back because of alcohol and a lot of diseases. So what I want to say, the political class have wasted the generation of the youths. It has wasted us a lot, so that now you find most youths are seemingly looking at the leaders on a way not to gain what they want, but they want hand to mouth, the direct money of handouts.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Rotich, you say that your 2025 verdict hasn't been quite clear because of the circumstances that have happened a couple of months ago. So when you speak about you saying that the government or the leaders are using the youths in a wrong way, do you think the youth as well wants this?
Absolutely, youth doesn't want to do this, but because they have no option. You know, right as we speak right now, the employment in this country is, they will employ you depending on who you know.
Indeed.
It has not been that free like before. You know, most youths out here are very desperate to have that job. We have teachers, we have accountants and everything.
Indeed, they want this job.
Yeah, but because I want to have something to eat, I have to have data, I have to pay rent, I have to maybe support parents. So the only thing I'll do is just the immediate money. And the immediate money you'll get is just to be a kun to a politician.
Indeed.
Politician to take you to a function, to echo another politician, or to cheer him up. That's immediate money. That's money you'll get direct. But now having that job, these politicians or the government has not done good in making employment to this young generation.
All right. As a political analyst, and from where you sit, every time we speak about a youthful conversation, every time we engage in these conversations, we always say that youths are the leaders of tomorrow. Then it comes at a point where the leaders, the current leaders, are using the leaders of tomorrow to deassociate themselves from useful engagements. What will be your take, of course, when it comes now to the alignment, that of course we are nearing 2026 and tomorrow is just near. What will be your take? Why are the current leaders using the tomorrow's leaders inappropriately?
Our leaders right now, they are not even using the next generation or the next leaders to be, but they're using the advantage of now. Because right now, as I've said, right now as we speak, most youths, 80% of the youths in this country are graduates with no job. The 20% are the ones employed. And when you see 80% of the youths who are unemployed, there you find a very big gap between the employed and unemployed. It could have been even about 50% or 60 to 40%, the ratio at least could have been fair. But now it is 80% youths unemployed in this country, all the way from Turkana to Mombasa to Kisumu. So you find out these youths, they do day-to-day job like going to Mjengo and wherever. So the leaders, our leaders who are in power right now, they are taking an advantage that if I make these people or I take them to be my supporters or my goons or to be my people who will heckle or who will shout on me or impress me. So we have no option to follow these leaders because we have not met what we want. But now, the only thing I want to tell the young generation, what we want right now to do is just to have our own formation. We want now to open up our eyes and stand now firm and demand our right. And the only way to demand our right is to stand and show them that enough for you using us. At least now we will come for that political positions. We will come now to secure what we want. Because right now, in this country, and I would have urged the government so much, at least maybe it can reduce the age limit of retirement, at least to be 55. Right now it's 60. But when you go to these offices, you find out even those people, they are having even 65 and above who are still working. So, you know, when you reduce the cap from 60 to 55, it will create a space for youths to be employed.
All right. I believe, of course, we will also be able to talk about retirement benefits, whereas sasa mimi ni retire niende wapi. Now, when it comes to the age of retirement also in the country becomes a crisis because many of them still have their own crisis and wants to keep on developing, and there's no room for any other engagements, more so for the youths to come in and have their activations. Now, 2025 has been a defining and difficult year for the Kenyan youth. Young people have faced rising economic pressure, shrinking job opportunities, opportunities and growing political exclusion, and an increasingly hostile environment. Now, for civic participation as well, while youth make up a majority of the country right here in the Republic, their experiences this year, specifically this year, has been shaped by protest, fear, resilience, and deep frustration with the political system. And of course, when you realized it sparked a lot of controversy and attention, not only in the Republic, but of course, globally. When we speak about this pressure, and this pressure that the youths now made to the government and ignited to the government, there's a point of consideration here. That above all, there is still a voice that the youths have. And this voice will direct the government in a particular way. How would you rate the pressure that the youths mounted right to the heart of the government?
The youths are the ones right now in this country, the ones who got a lot of power and strength.
Indeed.
They are energetic young men and women who can push the government to do. You know, pushing the government doesn't mean that we push in a war way or in a very chaotic way. They are strong men and women who can push the government to go into a conversation. As we speak, we got these organizations like Kupet, NAT, and whatever, and the KOTU. Those are the organizations who are pushing the government for negotiation. And also we want, as the generation now of the youths, you know, the problem in this country is manipulation. You wake up today, you stand for the youths, maybe the government or organization takes you, you live the agenda, and you live, definitely you live what you are purposely working for. So we have the power. We are very strong. Indeed. We are very, very strong. But now we lack the support.
But the youth went for the protest.
We lack support.
The youth went for the protest.
They went for the protest, but we lacked somebody who supported us. The protests were genuinely anti-finance bill. The protest was anti-bad leadership. The protest was anti-governance. The MPs, the laws they are making is not fair to the people. Now now the political class came in and said, oh, you know, this is a political move, they are pushing. But in real sense, the young generation were pushing for the fairness, equality, and at least accountability in this country.
All right. What support really did you want when you went to the protest? Of course, what kind of support that the youth wanted at this particular point in time?
The kind of support the youths wanted was the support of our leaders. We could have been in a very good state if our leaders supported us that this is wrong. The day we told the members of parliament that this finance bill is not good, that was the time the members of parliament could have a sit and conversation. They could have called the youths, say this finance bill is ABCD. We want to do this. The youth say we want to do this. Then now we come up with a solution. And we say this, because in this country, the law allows for public participation.
Indeed.
And the meaning of public participation is having a seat in conversation. You hear the view of the people. And when the majority or the people, that's why I say power belongs to the people. When the people says this is wrong, why don't you listen? That's why we lack support. And if we could have gotten the support from the people, we would have been having a conversation with the government that now the government will say, okay, the youths have said this, because at the end of the day, the youths pushed the government until they rejected the finance bill.
Indeed, which is very positive.
It was very positive to the youth, but after loss of lives. It could have been very genuine because the protest was peaceful at the start. Even the government saw it peaceful, but the legislators say that, oh, maybe this is the young generation, they don't know what they want. But as we speak right now, if the young generation got support and empowered, they will be very good, they will bring very good impact to this country.
You'll realize that impact, as you say, becomes the element of control in many departments out there, that many of which want to, ignite protest as a way to bring change. You realize also the doctors, this year also demonstrated, the teachers as well, came at a point in time that they want to do this because this is the only route that they can be heard. And later on, I believe you will be able to help us get a positive solution towards driving change right in the Republic. And as we speak about that, and there's room for fear as well, and the sense of resilience and deep frustration with the political system is becoming a case of consideration. Now, throughout 2025, official data and civil society reports showed persistently low youth voter registration, even as young people are driving the force, or they are driving force behind nationwide protest over police brutality, the cost of living and governance. Now, commemorations linked to the storming of parliament reignited public anger, while reports emerged of arrest, intimidation, and enforced disappearances targeting young activists, both offline and online. The question is this morning, Rotich, that if youths are disengaging from formal politics but risking their lives in protest, what does that say about the legitimacy of Kenya's political system? Understood the question, right? And if you realized also the by-elections a couple of weeks ago, there's also a center of consideration where young people were also advised to turn out in large numbers to cast their votes. And this will be the center of direction when it comes to embracing the fact that we need change right here in the Republic. As we are nearing the general elections 2027, the question also we're asking our viewers this morning, if youths are disengaging from formal politics, then thereafter, they're risking their lives in protests in so many ways as well, both online and offline. What does that say about the legitimacy of the Kenya's political system? Of course, Rotich, if you're in a better position, of course, you'll answer that in the best way you can as well. Now, the 2025, of course, official data also reports that there's still some considerations that need to take center stage when it comes to voter registration and voter turnout right in the Republic. The youth are encouraged as well to, take this registration, and of course in 2027 they will make a difference. Na hiyo sasa ndio itakuwa inaitwaje, positive protest. Itakuwa maandamano ya hekima. All right. So we will align the government, we'll align what comes out in governance, and of course we'll be able to have a quite positive political system right here in the Republic. Remember earlier on we mentioned about they take the majority, the major population right in the Republic, and of course the experience which has been shaped by protest coming 2026, anti-finance bill protest, and of course there was so much lives lost, and we didn't understand how that will have been supported, and of course Rotich mentions that we lacked support at that particular point in time. You'll help us understand this support tunahitaji ni kama gani, si ndio? But answer this question now. I believe now you also will be able to answer that as well. If youths are disengaging from politics, from formal politics, but risking their lives in protest, what does that mean? Or what does that say about the legitimacy of the Kenya's political system? Now, of course, Kenya's political system, you understand, it's when the president came into office in 2022, and right about now we're speaking about the same question time about the political system right here in the Republic. What is your thought on the same?
Oh, first of all, you should know that power is arrogant, and power is deaf. It doesn't have ears. So the only way you can speak or have a conversation with power, you have to shout, you have to demonstrate. And it doesn't mean shouting and demonstrating is an irresponsibility. It's a responsible person. Secondly, the young generation, you can't say that the young generation are risking their lives in demonstration. And it doesn't mean that the young generation, it's the first time of young generation to demonstrate. It's not even in our country, it's all over the world. As you saw even last, I think 2 weeks ago, Tanzania had a demonstration also. The young generation came out and they were disappointed. And it doesn't mean any demonstration should be only on political demonstration. We have seen teachers demonstrating, doctors, nurses, even students, schools demonstrating bad governance or leadership of the school. So what I want to say is that we, the young generation also, as far as our matters concerned, but we have a lot of things to do, because first thing you've said about the registration or the registration of being a voter, IEBC. We lack behind because we want to be heard, but we want to go to the legal or the right way to be heard. Like the IEBC have said, go take a vote, take register to be a voter. But the young generation have not taken an action to go, because right now as we speak, it's about 20%. You go to a county like Kitui, only you get at 112 have registered to be a voter. So the young generation, we are not, as well as we say we want the change, we are not also ready for the change, because the only way to change things is the way we are making our things right. And the first thing to make things right, go there, get a vote, so that when the right time comes, you vote in a good leader. Number two, we forget about the handouts. What has killed us a lot is handouts. A leader can pay you, we say we want youth generation, but when you are broke or poor, right now, me as a young man, if I go to my village, I want to fight, my young generation will not look at me. They will look at that man who has money. And that's where we elect the wrong leaders. But if we forget about handouts and we focus about our future, we will elect young generation, young leaders who will lead us well.
But don't you think the youths are tired? The youths are tired. Of course, they made the actions, the positive actions to elect positive leaders that will drive the country in the better way possible. But later on, it's such a disappointment that we're speaking about the same bad governance as well.
The youths are tired, but they are not active. You know, if you say today I'm tired, you should be having a solution of your tiredness. Bringing in new energy for you to help you. But I want to give you a very small example about what happened at Kasipul and what happened at Narok, what happened at Mumia, the by-elections. When you saw all the manner of chaos, the people who were causing the chaos were the young generation, the youths. And who was using the youths? The leaders. The leaders, they are not youths. So that's why I started telling you, with the youth, we want change. But the same youths, we have been used by these people to not bring the same change. We want change, to change them, but they are using us now not to change them. So we should get out from this context of political handouts. If today we believe that this young man can lead us with or without money, that's the only way we can elect and lead this country as the youths.
All right. Media protests resulted in dozens of deaths, hundreds of injuries and widespread arrests, with young people forming the majority of those affected. Human rights organizations, of course, say and documented the use of excessive force, while the state defended its actions as necessary to maintain order. The human cost of political expression became one of the most contested issues of the year. Now, we of course earlier on with us to teach about the legitimacy of the political system right in the Republic. As you prepare to answer that as well, do you think the state crossed a line in how it responds to youth protest, or is this the inevitable cost of public order?
Thank you very much, my brother. First, I listen my apology for arriving late.
Indeed.
Number two, I am Jared Oye from the ODM party, and very precious, that is the ODM Youth League, where I am a delegate and an aspirant and a leader to be in the near future.
Amazing.
I think my brother Otichi was on, before maybe I come to the legitimacy of the political system that we have as a country.
Indeed.
We have continuous voter registration, that is CVR. It is so unfortunate that my generation haven't turned out as we're expecting them to do. And maybe I can give two couple of examples why maybe they're not turning out to vote, to register as voters. But again, it's also very unfortunate before I give the examples. My generation can organize a very proper road trip to Naivasha, but they can't organize themselves to go to the constituency IBC office to register as voters. This has bigly been attributed by the, I'll say, we don't have a proper political education in our political system. We have civic education.
Indeed. So
a number of young people feel like there is no need, me maybe being a voter. And that brings me to the examples that I wanted to give. For the longest time in our history, when we were now coming in and knowing how things should and need to run, we'll remember that the governments of the day have never fulfilled the promises that they're giving to the country. The governments that have been there have never lived up to their manifestos. The governments of the day have always abandoned even the projects that we could believe could have changed our country and our life at large. So I think that's one reason why maybe young people haven't taken these things serious. Number two, the reason why maybe young people are not turning out properly on the continuous voter registration is the election injustice that we have seen for the longest time in our country. I'm from a political party that has been on the street in the forefront fighting for the same, for the election injustice, where your vote may not count. There's somewhere sitting somewhere who decides who becomes a leader, not you at the polling station. So these are some of the I'll say, three nitty-gritties that may be attributing bigly to young people not turning out to vote. But now come to us as leaders. What do we do and what are we doing? We are still urging my generation, young people, that the only civil, proper political way to finish unfinished business that they had or we had in 2025 when we were on the street is to take the vote, go to the booth and elect the leader that you believe in can change and turn things around. My brother, I've also touched about, I think, on the protest 2025. Indeed. I want to tell you, and I want to agree with you as well, that in all aspect of revolution, in all aspect of a country taking a new turn, in all aspect of a country maybe having a more innovative way of moving forward, young people have been in forefront. And I'm going to use our country. I'm not going to use maybe another example. We have had two successful phases of maybe liberation and revolutions in the country. The first one is the liberation that we were having from Wabeberu, our colonizers, and those who were playing key roles in the fighting for our independence were young people. The people who picked up the arms and ran into the Mau forest, the people who are in the Badeda forest, the people who are being sent to meet the colonizers in the boardrooms in UK and London were young people. So young people are in forefront with no support from government then. I'm doubting if the colonizing government could have supported the young people to fight for the freedom of our country.
What kind of support did you need?
I don't know the kind of support that is referring to, that young people are not supported by the government or the politicians. I don't know. That's why I'm trying to give maybe that background. That the governments or the system can't never support any young person or anybody who is disrupting the status quo. That was the first one. Number two, that's now the second liberators, the multipartism, the devolution, and so on. And these, I think, some of them are still living here with us. We have the likes of Akina James Orengo. We have Itobi Manya, who's still there. We have the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, HCGH, who just left the other day. They were in forefront as young people, both. They were calling themselves the four young task then. These people were in forefront. They never got support from the current government for them to inject and bring change that the country needed then. They never got any support from any system.
And the government cannot support protest.
Yes?
The government cannot support
the government, as I put it, the government only protest, but any disruption to the status quo. We were not going to expect the government of the day, that's the one for William Ruto, to support young people who are not only protesting, but they were practicing their civic duty. Because maybe that's the only voice that the government of the day, or the government that we have had in the country, or the systems, listen to. When people pour out, in our constitution, it says that the sovereignty of the people. So we invoked the Article 1 of our Constitution. We didn't practice it through representation, but people took it to themselves. So no government, no politician, as you put it, no leader who is retrogressive will support an interruption to the status quo when things are not running right. And even into the near future, even 2027, 2028, I'm doubting if any government if not, leave alone the one for Kenya Kwanza, will come to support young people or a generation who's trying to find their path.
Now, do you think, Oye, that the government was trying as much as possible to protect itself when it came to maintaining order, using excessive force to calm things down right in the Republic because it was now overwhelming?
First, maybe as you put it, there was excessive force which was used unnecessarily. But again, we must agree in here, my brother, that not all who are on the street I'll say mean well for our country. There are those who wanted the country to go the banana way. I'll tell you in here that we don't have any other nation apart from Kenya. We can't run to go to Somalia. We can't run to go to Sudan. We can't we can't go to another country. And there are young people who believed strongly that there are things that need to be done right. But again, amongst those who are having the bright head on what to be done and how, we had infiltrators who came in and tunasema ni wahuni ama the hooliganism and goons who will say hijacked a good process. And that, I think, forced the government of the day to also retaliate. Which again, they used a lot of force. So there are some young people who became casualties of their circumstances.
All right. Thank you so much, Oye. I believe, of course, in the next session, you'll be able to complete your answer in regards to retaliating. Of course, it has been quite a word that has been trending across the internet. And I believe, of course, Ratish will be able to answer some of the questions that we'll be asking this morning. Of course, how safe is political participation of young people when activism follows them into their phones and the private lives? We're taking a short break. We'll be right back in the next few minutes of alignment right here, the 2025 Youth Verdict and what it means for the 2026 arrangements.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
Pindi tu taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu, kwa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wasi wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji. Welcome back. 4 minutes past 9 a.m. You're watching the Morning Brief, the big conversation right here, and of course the youth verdict. What next for 2026? Earlier on, we posed a question: as the state crossed the line on how it responds to youth protest, or this is the inevitable cost of public order. You're completing an opinion about retaliating.
Yes. So I think the
state. I'm not just thinking. Personally, I was part and parcel of June 2025. I think even on Sabasaba, we had to be evacuated in town by the Human Rights Defenders Coalition. So the state or the government used unnecessary force. But again, as I was putting it, that we had infiltrators who came in with other intentions. And I think the NIS, National Intelligence Service, at some point they did their job and they knew that there are those who are having other ulterior motives in the protest. That is one. Number two, I think maybe why the government was not having any other option as they were now combating and using more force on us is because we were not having leaders to engage or those who could have built, I'll say, the bridge between we, the young people, and the other side of government. We, the young people, or our generation being leaderless, as you were putting it, was our biggest undoing. Because if we could have had a leader, the person giving directives, we could have maybe achieved what we were targeting, where our target was. So the state used unnecessary force, and we call them out. There's one thing that Raila Odinga taught us: human dignity. We can't talk about human dignity when a state officer, then we can remember it was CS for Interior, Murkomen, says that we'll shoot them. And then the president came the other day and said that shoot the leg. So these are some of the sentiments which were telling us that the state was very brutal with us. And again, they are forgetting that we have numbers. So let's assume that now they are going to, they were to shoot the legs, and then the CS said that the police have the right to shoot. They are given mandate, the police themselves, to protect but not to antagonize and kill young people. They are given mandate to protect but not to shoot the leg, to make us lame and I'll say incapacitated at some point. So I'm in agreement. The government.
The goons helped the country to understand how support comes in from the leaders and from the government. And up to this point in time, earlier around, the government decided to deal with these goons after realizing that how goons wanaweza chomea CV vibaya sana, and of course coming in at a point where goons now are coming out openly and saying sisi now tulifanywa nini, tulilipwa. You've answered quite clear, of course, the direction of the government and the direction of the youths in making sure that we are aligning the government and to make sure that kila kitu ita run vizuri and to the best way possible. But Rotich, how safe is political participation for young people when now activism follows them into their phones and private lives?
I want first to agree and disagree with my brother here about the engagement of politicians on supporting the young generation.
All right, proceed.
And I want to tell him that the leaders we elected, they are there because of us. Because we could not be in parliament, all of us, but we elected some leaders to represent us. And meaning of representing us is just to air out our grievances, to make laws we want, and also at the same time to at least hear out our voice at that National Assembly. So when I said we lacked support from our leaders, we lacked the ear to hear us, to hear our grievances. We lacked a mouth that will shout out what we want. And we lacked out knowledge, somebody who can make the good laws for us. So the emotional and physical support we lacked from our leaders at that point.
How emotional?
The emotion way is if you don't feel emotionally what I'm feeling, that's now you are not emotional with me. I'm not saying that the member of parliament should be emotional to cry. No, you should be emotional, you feel what I feel. If today I feel this finance bill is making injustices to me, I want you to feel that injustices as my leader, as my representative in that house. If today I feel that that law you are making is hurting me, I want you, the leader, to go sit down and reason and make a good law. And it doesn't mean that to all leaders that they should buy all our ideas. But there is some common sense ideas. A leader should listen to his people. That's why we have a public participation. The meaning of public participation, you participate and we have a conversation. You listen to me, we agree on this, and then you go and represent me. That's meaning that what you present or the laws you're making at the National Assembly or any, in fact, even these bills they are making in National Assembly, they are not making bills out from the nowhere. They're making the bills out from the people. So when we go, so I was just telling him, our leader should and must be physically, emotionally, and mentally support to the young generation and everybody. Because if we will not, if today we leave this generation the way we have left or the way they have left us to be, I'm telling you, we will not make good leaders in future. He has said that at a point, the late Raila Amolo Odinga was leading them and giving them way. What happened? The day the president had a conversation with Raila Amolo Odinga, he never had conversation with the young generation. Even the CSS, I want to tell him, even the CSS who have been taken to work at the state as an agreement, with the government, with the 10-point agenda Raila had with William Ruto, the President William Ruto, even the 5 CSS, they are all above 55 years. We don't, in this country right now, as we speak, the young CS is the CS for agriculture. Mureite. That's the youngest CS we have in this country. So what I want to say, if today we use politicians to hear out our views, if we make this the whole age people to represent us, they will go and have their cake and forget about us. What I want us to do as the young generation is for this, if we quote and we the youths, personally, we stand our way and have our own support. The way you said we want a caravan to harmonize people on how to get registered as voters. I want to ask him who will pay for that caravan, who will even give you that money, if not the support we want. So that's the kind of support we want so that we can stand on our own legs as the youths.
That is physical support?
There's a physical support.
That means also the physical support comes in at a point where the government also should come to ground and then demonstrate together with the youths.
Obviously, the government will not demonstrate because you should demonstrate. It's your right to be a voter.
Indeed.
So if you will not stand, nobody will stand for you.
All right. Oh, yeah, as a biting twincher about your opinion as well. I do not know what your understanding about this emotional support as well.
Yeah, maybe I'll not indulge more in his Nini. But there's one thing he talked about, I think I was forgetting. Maybe I'll touch it later if you give me time. We are the tokenism that he talked about, and I think the media protest, something like that. So before maybe I come to the arms of government, as he put it, my brother, we are having 3 arms of government, as you put it. We have the legislature, we have the executive, and we have the judiciary. But these we have been talking about legislatures. My brothers, in here we must agree that legislatures are to represent us. If they could have represented us properly, we were not going to expect them to come and give us emotional support that is talking about. Let them represent our voice. We are not expecting them to come and give us emotional support on the street. They are elected. They have clear mandate. Actually, there are 3. It is representation, legislation, and there are 3. So we were not expecting them to give them. These people, I'll say they are not councillors to come and counsel us and give us emotional support. Bro, these people are elected to represent your voice in the parliament and make laws and amend the laws as well. So your voice ought to have been heard, not at the street, but in the assemblies. That is the Senate and the National Assembly. Talking about young people and young generation, even these old people are saying they were one time young people. The age we are in is transitional. We are not here forever. So you can't tell me that no, when you be 50, not long to be maybe a CS or a president or an MP. So you will relinquish because now you are old. It is not making sense to me. We have those who are old, but have the interest of not only the country, but a generation ahead. I'll give a good example of my party leader, as you mentioned him in here, the late Raila Amolo Odinga. When Baba was here, he was 80, but he still envisioned a Kenya beyond his age, beyond his life. And that was some point when we were in Bomas, he told us that he want to see a party like ODM to live beyond individual. That is him, Raila Amolo Odinga. It's the same, we need to see a country that believes beyond William Ruto. We would love to see a country that lives beyond Kalonzo Musyoka. That is the kind of leaders we need to have. Not telling us that, no, young people now to do what to ourselves. No, one day you will not be young, and maybe you will be a state officer or a state official. Number two, on the old age, as you put it, being old is not a mistake. All of us are going to pass there if Lord give us the life to live. So I'm not understanding why we want to put it like a generational, we are antagonizing generation and generation. We need to understand a vision for our country, that where do we need to go and where do we need to land into. It's not about my age today. We have young people think like old people. They're very progressive. They don't care. They want to ban our country. They want, where do you want us to go? We can't go the Somalia way, Ibana. We can't go the Sudan way. Remember, Kenya is one of the strongest pillar in East Africa and Africa at large. So this country must be very stable. So it's not about age. It's about what do we believe in and what do you believe in. You asked two questions here, but it will be bad if you don't answer them, my brother.
Please do so.
You said, we asked a question, legitimacy of the political system that we have in the country. Our political system is very legitimate. And this, I'll say Kenya Kwanza, we from then it was Azimio, we protested the elections, but the court did what they did, and we had to accept the outcome even if we're not agreeing with it. So the government system, the governance system that we have in the country is very legitimate. And the legitimacy of our governance trickled down, not only at the presidency, not only at the governorship, but even to the MCA. So when we are going to question our government system legitimacy, then we are going to start questioning it from the grassroots level. So the government system that we have as a country is very legitimate. We have a country, a system that works. We'll agree. Though we know that there are areas that are not aligned properly. And that's at some point from our party position. We were saying we need to have conclave, we need to have dialogue and see the areas that are not working for us to look into. Number two that you asked was the safe political activity. You asked like, do we have safe political activities? I don't know, I'm forgetting it. You asked the question.
Yes, very clear.
Yeah, so the political activities that we have been having for some good time, if you compare us with our neighbors in the region, I think Kenya is far apart from Tanzania, it's far apart from Uganda. You can see we have a very mature democratic space. We can come out and hear our voices and thoughts the way they are. We can come to a national TV like this and say things the way they are. We can come and we can go to the street and protest our thoughts, even though at some point we disagree how the police, and that's one of the things that we were asking. Today is a presidential candidate, that is the emeritus Chief Justice Maraga. He had the police reforms. Was this part of the police reform that they need to understand how to handle the protesters or those who are giving out their civic right and their thoughts on the street? So our political space, on my end and on my analysis, compared to our neighbor, we are much safer. Though there are areas that we need to come into. We are only 60 years since independence. So we haven't reached maybe where US is, but I believe in this country that will be there. Because even US, if you remember how they are still handling the black people, the Negroes in their streets when they are protesting. It's the same way at some point we are being handled here in the country. So we are still maturing. We are on the right track.
Indeed. All right, in the same track, of course, there's so much expectation when it comes now to political party struggle. And of course, the youth wings often reflected allied power struggles. Rotich, attempts to absorb or control the youth voices frequently deepened mistrust. Do political parties genuinely, want youth leadership, or do they only want youth mobilization?
As I answer your question, I want to tell my brother, being a critic and accountable for accountability doesn't mean you hate your country. Right now, as we speak, if there is people who love their country, are the youths and the young generation, from the recent past or even the events which has happened, they can criticize their president, but at a point, if somebody else outside our country criticize our president, the same young generation comes in and protect their president. You saw last time at Nyayo, maybe a Somali stepping on Kenyan's flag, our flag. Whole Kenyans stood and raised voice that, why are you stepping on our flag? That shows you the young generation loves their country. Criticizing and being accountable doesn't mean we hate this country. We love this country. We don't have any other country. We love, and making accountability keeps the state to work and protect the goods of their own people. As you said about political center of the young generation, I want to tell you the party which has helped the young generation, and I want to agree with my brother, is ODM. As we speak right now, the Secretary General of ODM is a young man, is a youth, a young youth. It's a youth. Is a Sifuna. Is a young man. So ODM has shown us even the young generation can lead, and also the same party has given the young generation a chance to fight, because we have young leaders who are in the National Assembly, the likes of, even also I want to appreciate also the ruling party, the UDA. As we speak right now, we have the youngest senator, I think 32 years old or 30 years old, from Baringo. So these political parties can give us the platform to sell out ourselves and to do politics. But now we don't have, I can say the problem with has the young generation, we don't have the financial muscles like them. If you go to if right now we go to the villages and our constituency and fight, our people will fight for the financial strong muscle person. And that's now where we, the young generation, get defeated. But I want to tell you one thing. We want civic education to our parents, most so our parents. To tell them that it's not a must that somebody has money or financial muscles so that he can be a leader. Even a young man without anything can be a leader, depending on his ideologies and his manifest to the people.
So I see we have at least 10 minutes, of course, to just have the engagement centralized right here on our conversation. Gen Z continue to reshape political engagements through memes, short-form videos, influencers, and decentralized organizing. Political narratives, of course, moved faster online than through institutions, challenging state communication and traditional campaigning. Can traditional politics keep up with the generations that organizes and mobilizes outside formal structures? You've seen it happened before, and of course the engagement came in handy digitally, and of course the move was seen physically. What will be your thought on that? And what about this, challenging state communication? Even Mayuzi, you realized that the systems of the government was hacked. Does that also is a challenging time on how the state, assembles its whereabouts?
Yes, thank you very much. I'll start with the youth wing. I'm from a youth wing, a political party. There's a very common say that we use, and we have used it several times, that is that the young people have the energy, find it up there. But the old people, or the senior, not the old, but the senior people in our political party have the wisdom and knowledge how to get there. So on our youth wing, this is like a feeder to the political parties. These are the people who, I'll say, they fuel and lubricate the wheels of the political party operation. If we were to move, if remember, I think for the longest time again in the history of our lifetime, for the past 20 years, it is ODM that I'll say has been on the street. And for the ODM to be on the street as it was, it is young people who are to mobilize and be there. If the ODM is the most progressive and active party in the country, for it to be that active, it is we, the young people, who are making it very active. So young people and the youth wings, they are the feeder. That's number one. Number two, on the youth wings. Yes, there's elitism, and then we have also, I'll say, the goons in this other side. Like now from the party I'm coming from. We have young people who at some point they feel like they need to provide that security, and then there are those who work on I'll say, on the policies and how to implement them, doing the research and so on. So all these young people find themselves working together, and at the end of the day, though they play different roles, they're just like a component. So there are those who play a different role, but the end goal is the same. That is number 2. Number 3, on the young people in these political parties, they're not being used. This is where young people are being nurtured. The best leaders are being nurtured from I'll say, from these political parties. I'll give you 2 examples of the political parties in Africa apart from ODM. We have ANC in South Africa. They have been, I think, they have been having leaders that are being nurtured from the ANC Youth League. And then we have Chama Cha CCM, Chama Cha Mapinduzi in Tanzania. They are the leaders that they have been having since the interception of the CCM. They are being made from the youth wing. We have the EFF in South Africa again. The young people in that, the people in that political party, a number of young people are being made from the youth wing of that political party. Back at Omia, those who were in the KANU youth wing, they are the people leading us today. They were made from the youth wing. So this is where the leaders are being nurtured, are being made, and are being taught maybe the right ways. We from the ODM party, we are privileged, we are advantaged. Some of them we learn at first hand to be the best leaders of our country. And that's why in most cases you'll find that ODM have always provided the best. A good example is our SG, and other leaders like the Babu Wino, we have PS Fikirini, who was in the youth wing, and so on. So we have a number who are being nurtured and being made from our youth wings. So youth wings are not being used, though we are playing the biggest role in our political parties, but it's not a usage. There are roles we are being given. We have the energy, we have the time, and then we are very innovative to carry that forward on the youth wing.
All right.
Number 2. Number 2, you have asked a question on on the current communication. We have the meme, the short videos, and the TikToks, and so on. Things change. I'm trying to imagine if during the first liberation of our country, if those people could have had X space. I think Wabuberu wangetoka hii nchi in maybe a month. So today things have changed, and you can remember in the finance bill. Today we get information and then we condense it, easier to consume. And this to me is, I think, an advantage to our country and our nation. Kenya being one of the most innovative, I think one of the active country online on internet. So the current emerging communication channels that we are having are not a threat to the state. State and maybe the political parties that we are coming from just need to understand how to intertwine and work with the changes that are coming in. You have asked again on the state of the communication. We remember the other time there were communication channels which were hijacked and state channels. I think at some point, yes, this country have very educated, innovative young people who are again jobless. So they love to. They love to. They want to adventure. They want to see and try. So opportunities. Yeah. So I think as things run and turn, some work to our advantage. But again, that also gives state to hype up the security barriers of the state departments. Yes.
All right. Election observers and right groups noted that recent by-elections exposed credibility gaps that disappropriately, proportionately affect young voters. Allegations or irregularities and intimidation further weakened youth confidence in democratic process na history ya kuvote. Is Kenya facing a crisis of legitimacy among its youth voters?
Says lacking legitimacy is not a right term of legitimacy in photos. What we could have used is that the government is lacking responsibility in responding and taking, but not even the government, is the IEBC, is the independent body. The IEBC should take responsibility. So
the voters are okay?
The voters are okay. The IEBC should take responsibility on making sure that the vote is peaceful, the voter is protected, and the voter has been given a chance to vote. So the government doesn't come in to the vote, but the government or the opposition can interfere. So that's why the government should give support to the independent body by giving them security. to protect, to keep law and order. And also the IBC should set they have their own law. That's why when you found out last time in Kasipul, they fined 1 million each aspirant because of violence and chaos. So the IBC, and I want to caution the IBC that will make this country in peace or in chaos. But I do believe, and I do believe in the IBC chairman, that come 2027, we will have peaceful, credible election. And I want to urge my young generation that let's come out. We have about 2 months to get registered. Let's come out, let's go and register as voters. Come 2027, we take this position. And I want even to encourage them. We can right now stand as the young generation, and come 2027, we'll be in a negotiating table with the sitting government or the government of that time to negotiate on positions of CSS, parastatals, and everything, because that's why these politicians tells you, what are you coming with to the table? And if we are one connected, we will come with something to the table. And I want to tell my brother, as he has said that we have energy, we want to use the same energy to pressure in the government, so that when it comes 2027, we will have a say in this government. We will have at least somewhere. The government will place us somewhere. That because, you know, right now, the government is looking for somebody who has masses, people. But if the youth generation stands and says we have numbers, because as we speak, the young generation is about 5 million. They have about 5 million voters. So if today you bring that to the table, 5 million votes of the young generation, that they will consider you and give you at least position in the government.
Thank you so much, Rotich. And of course, how can we engage you in social media?
Personally, I don't like that much social media, but I'm TikTok, I'm Tony Rotich TikTok, Tony Rotich Instagram, X Tony Rotich.
All right.
Yeah.
Sawa. Oh yeah, we have just 1 minute. Of course, you know, give your last sentiment. Then of course you share with us your social media. Then to go to Memaliza.
Thank you very much. I'm agreeing with my brother that we are going to have mass voter registration. We have seen young people didn't turn out properly on the continuous voter registration, that is CVR. So maybe expecting that larger number will turn out to register as voters with the mass voter registration. It will be devolved to your polling station. That is one. Number two, I think the leaders that we are having, that is from the ward level, I think they just need to step up and take the responsibility of civic and political education. But we from ODM party, we are very organized. We have leadership from the polling station. So all our leaders, I think, will be assigned to take up the roles of the civic and political education to young people and the areas they're coming from, for us to have mass registration successful. I think we, the young people, we only have one chance to make it right. We only have one country. We must continue organizing properly, not only to be on the table, but to be in these political parties. And I urge them to massively join ODM party. Lastly, I am just Jared Oye on all the social media pages.
All right. Na tutakufuatilia, si ndio?
Thank you.
Sawa. Thank you so much, Rotich. Thank you so much, Oye, for making time this morning. And of course, Agogo Mkari is also a political analyst, says that great conversation, youth must talk the walk. If we really want to make the change, we're talking about it. Youth's involvement is very key in any serious democratic national conversation. And of course, to the betterment of this conversation, imekuwa known because of the both of you, and imekuwa fiti sana. High profile political events.
Agogo Mkare is a good comrade of ours. That's from ODM party, a very innovative young man. You need to have him on the bench.
Kabisa, nitamwalika tena. Alisema nataka kuja sasa.
Agogo kwa hapa bana.
Indeed. Yeah, we'll call him, and of course I believe when I call him, you'll also be there as well.
Yeah, sure.
High profile political events and public gatherings in 2025 expose sharp generational divides within parties. Youth factions and openly challenge senior leaders, highlighting unresolved tensions over power, succession and inclusion. Now the question that you're going home with this morning, of course you'll get to answer it across our social media platforms, is Kenya ready for a real generational shift in political leadership? That is our question this morning on Big Conversation. Cheza kama wewe kwenye mitandao yetu ya kijamii, hasa YouTube na Facebook, and of course if it suits you as well, send in your comment on 0745762640 and we'll deliberately answer you in good time. Above all, Simba Elijah Charles seat is filled and done. Asante sana, standing in, of course. See you tomorrow as we wait for other conversations as well. And of course, Thursday and Friday coming in handy for the betterment of Look Up Television. Up to this moment, have a lovely morning. Thank you so much, Dantimax. Thank you so much, Saimo. And above all, thank you so much, our graphics, as well, for making this happen. Have a lovely morning. Asante sana.